What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Gunpla University. Jared here, and if this is your first time here and you're a fan of Gundam model kits and or anime related figures, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our newest videos. First and foremost, before we get into things, I want to go ahead and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, hopefully you get to enjoy the time spent with you and yours. So happy Thanksgiving from us to you all, and hope you guys have a nice and safe holiday. So what we're talking about today is the hot topic for everything YouTube. If you've been watching the things that's happening around YouTube right now, the big conversation is around this whole COPPA thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of talk about how COPPA relates to Gunpla and how essentially I feel is going to affect Gunpla, if at all. So real quick, I want to remind you all that in no way, shape, or form are we lawyers or are we trying to give any legal advice or anything like that. This is purely just how we feel about the situation and how we feel this may or may not affect the Gunpla community and us here on YouTube. So those of you who are just looking for the short and simple answer, do I think COPPA is a big problem for the Gunpla community? The answer to that is no. I do not think that COPPA is going to negatively affect the Gunpla community on YouTube, at least not right now. So if you want to hear my full explanation as to why I feel like COPPA won't have a big impact on the Gunpla community here on YouTube, stick around to the end of the video and hear some of my thoughts, and maybe you end up feeling the same way I do by the end of this video. Alright, so I don't want to make this video super long, so I'm not going to go super in depth on all of the legal terminology. So if you really want to see more of that and dig into that, I recommend checking out Daniel Eve's video as well as Jeremy Johnson, and I will link the two of them down below. So if you really want to find out more information about that, check their videos out. So first off, what is COPPA? COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule. So this is a law that came about in the mid-90s in order to keep entities or companies and other web services from collecting data from children without the consent of their parents. So at some point, YouTube is found to be in violation of COPPA by actually going ahead and serving targeted ads to kids. Now, this is obviously probably most prevalent in content that's out there in the YouTube space that is actually directed to children, content that's actually made for children, right? Because obviously that's where the kids go, so that's where their data would be collected, and thus that's how YouTube would know that they're coming, and that's how YouTube would know to provide them with an ad of something that they would be most likely attracted to. So because of this, YouTube gets hit with a $170 million fine by the FTC for violating COPPA. Now that part is all gravy and really has nothing to do with the creators, us. So from here, there are two terms that come into play that you gotta kind of remember and keep aware of as we roll through this. The first one is child attractive, and the second is child directed. Now these are two very different things, right? So in response to being sued, YouTube comes out and says that starting January 1st, any channels that are child attractive and or child directed will no longer be able to do X, Y, and Z features that I will leave here on the screen. And for some channels, this is a very black and white thing, right? Some channels, we know they are creating children's content, and it is content that is directly for children. So at the same time that this is happening, the FTC comes out and they say that they have the ability to go after content creators too if they're found to be violating COPPA. And the fine, if you're found to be violating COPPA, can be a whopping $42,000 per offense. So for every video on your channel that is found to be in violation of COPPA, you could be charged $42,000. The only way to get around this, if you're found to be producing child-directed or child-attractive content, is to have your channel labeled, or have that video at least labeled as child content, and have it subject to those list of things that I placed on the screen here earlier. Well, you remember those two terms that we spoke about, child attractive and child directed? That's where the big problem comes in here. There is content that is created that is specifically for children. This is child directed content, and it's content that is made for children to watch. On the other hand, there's content that may be attracted to children. There's content that children may be attracted to, but not necessarily content that's created for them. And that's where this whole thing kind of explodes and bubbles over to all of the rest of YouTube. As I said, there's some channels out there that are very black and white. They make child content, easy, no problem. YouTube is saying, hey, you guys are now gonna have to conform to X, Y, and Z. You're making child content, nothing we can do about it, no problem. So by this point, you should be pretty much catching on to how Gundam kind of fits into this kind of gray space where someone is sitting back arbitrarily saying that this content attracts children, therefore it is subject to all of the penalties or regulations enforced by YouTube. Take this high grade here, for example. Now, to the untrained eye, to someone who's not in the community and doesn't know what goes into creating something like this may just look like a toy. And that's the problem, is that there's no Gunpla artist or Gundam aficionado sitting on the FTC's board to say that, hey, Gundam is not for kids. It's not content that is directed to kids, at least not necessarily Gunpla and Gunpla model building. And this is the truth for pretty much all of these subsets out there that are kind of teetering on this whole thing of, does COPPA apply to us or not? Not just Gundam, but action figures and other adult collectibles. So in general, the fear is that our adult collectibles could be misconstrued as being child attractive, which even if they are child attractive, that's not our fault. Us as content creators, don't have a choice on what kids do and don't like. I mean, kids like GTA and Call of Duty, and both of those are rated M too. So, I mean, it's not really our fault. So let's say Gunpla as a whole is seen as a kid's plaything by the FTC. Well, at that point, as a YouTuber, you have one of two options. Either one, you mark all your content or have all your content marked by YouTube as for kids, and you're subject to all of those things. Or you don't mark your content as for kids, the FTC comes through, searches your channel and sees that you're creating children's content, and thus you get charged $42,000 per offense. So that in itself is the bare bones of what the problem is as far as the hobbying community, right? Because we have no control over what kids like. They like what they like. Are we worried about COPPA? Well, honestly, currently right now, no, we are not worried about COPPA. And there's a couple of different things that kind of lead me into this. I know right now, if you look across YouTube, there's a lot of people that are worried. There's a lot of people that are scared, and I definitely can understand that. Especially for like the really large channels who, make ad revenue off of their channels, and their content is clearly directed toward kids. So now they're not gonna be able to make ad revenue anymore off of their channels. Like, I totally understand that. As far as Gunpla being considered as directed to children, I do not think that as a whole that this is going to be a thing for the Gunpla community. The number one reason why I don't think this is going to be an issue for Gunpla, and this is just kind of to set the stage, right? I personally do not believe that the people at the FTC and or Google, people at Google, are trying to do anything to maliciously hurt the content creators. I do truly believe that, this law came out originally to, protect children. It just happens to be that it's a little outdated. And so I think that's important to kind of state, is that, I don't think that they're trying to do this maliciously to tear down content creators. Number two reason why I feel like this is not going to be a problem is that the distributor of Gunpla, which is Bluefin, if you look closely on all of your Gunpla boxes, they will all say 15 and up. Why is this important? Well, I don't feel like, they can blatantly ignore a company's directed audience that they put on the packaging. Matter of fact, let me find a couple boxes to show you. All right, so I got a couple different options here for us to take a look at. Starting off with the oldest kit in the collection, right? Or at least by oldest kit, we mean like age, print age, right? So this is a first grade RX-78 -2, so an old first grade Gramps. And if we look right there on Gramps, you can see clearly states for ages 15 and up. So that's on a first grade RX-78, right? So let's move on to the next kit. Here we've got a high grade RX-9, and we search for the Bluefin. Here it is. The Bluefin here also states 15 and up. All right, doing pretty good so far. Remember, they classify child as 12 and under. So next we have an SD Gundam, and SDs are probably some of the simplest things you can do, right? Right, okay. Yeah, well, even those say 15 and up. All right, so next we have this master grade gem here, and this bag is all tore up. But let's see if we can find the Bluefin sticker on this one, which here it is. And even on this one, you can see clearly says for ages 15 and up. Now, to go one step further, because we did look at the SD, and SDs are probably considered like some of the easier kits, I want to see what the easiest kit in Gunpla says on the packaging. So the easiest kit in Gunpla would have to be Haro, right? I would think. So here we have this clear Haro, and here's the Bluefin tag right here. And even this says ages 15 and up. So yeah, that's reason number two why I feel like Gunpla is not going to be affected by this. The manufacturer and the distributor clearly state that this product is for 15 years of age and up. I think that any rational person is going to have a hard time trying to argue that a content creator should be punished or put into this box for the content that they create from a distributor that clearly states that their product is not for children. So the next reason why I feel like this isn't a problem, and this is probably actually the biggest reason why I feel like COPPA is not going to be a problem for Gunpla as a whole. You all as Gunpla artists know all of the things that we use in order to make our Gunpla, and a lot of this stuff is not child friendly. So is there the chance that a video of ours or a video of one of the other Gunpla artists could be tagged as for kids by some of these roaming YouTube bots? Yes, that's possible, but I feel like upon manual review, and once you see what all has to go into actually making these Gunpla what they are, it would be clearly found that this is not for kids. Even the most simplest build of a high grade requires some type of sharp device in order to cut it from the runners. Not to mention all of the custom builders out there who are filing down plastic, creating, ABS plastic particle dust. I'm sure that's cancerous at some point if you huff enough of it. We've got toxic paints and lacquers and enamels, all different types of super glues and adhesives. If you really take a second to think about it, building Gunpla, there's a lot of different things in there that just aren't really a great idea to have your kids around, or to at least let your kids use unsupervised. But therein lies the problem. This is something that could be missed when you have somebody from the FTC or some type of outside organization who knows nothing about Gunpla, and they say, oh, this is a toy. They need somebody educated inside of that feel to tell them, hey, no, this isn't necessarily a toy, it is X, Y, and Z. And if you really think about it, even your most basic high grade, such as this little guy right here, I had to use sharp nippers in there to get his parts off of the runners. Now there may be some exceptions to that rule about using nippers on Gunpla, but I would like to point out the fact that, again, the distributor says that even those particular models should be for ages 15 and up. So if you're a content creator, you know that we've already been asked to go through our channels and self-designate whether or not our content is for kids or not. We actually did that here on our channel about a week ago, I want to say, probably about a week ago or so. None of us Gunpla artists, content creators, have had any of our videos marked as for kids, with one exception that I'll get back to in a second. YouTube has employed their own electronic AI means to go through and scour our different videos and see if this content is for kids. They already have their criteria set as what content on your channel can be construed as content that is made for kids, which I'll leave that list here as well. So YouTube's bots are out scouring our channels, and should they find any of this content on our channels, they will mark that video as a video for kids. So to the best of my knowledge, other than the one exception that we're going to get to here in a second, none of the Gunpla artists that I know of on YouTube have been hit by COPPA and having their videos marked as for kids. So now what I want to do is bring back up this list of content that is considered for kids. So that one exception, as far as us Gunpla artists that have actually had any of our videos caught in this web of for kids, is Otaku Builder. If you don't know who Otaku Builder is, he's an absolutely fantastic builder. I'm a huge fan. I watch pretty much all of his videos, and if you don't watch Otaku Builder, you probably should be. But if you watch Otaku Builder, you'll know that he has a particular chibi style character that is just part of his brand. Now this chibi style character appears all throughout his videos as well as on his thumbnails. Up until now, he is the only YouTube content creator in Gunpla that we know has had any videos marked as for kids. Now, when you look at this list that YouTube has out as far as criteria that marks content for kids, you can see that his chibi character is probably what is to blame. I think that's something that can easily be worked out if, you know, the good people at YouTube would come and manually review his channel and see that his content is also not directed at kids. And although that might seem like a small thing that, so what, none of the Gunpla artists have been hit by COPPA yet. I think that's a pretty big deal. Even though Gunpla isn't the largest niche out there, it's still got a pretty good size. And I mean, you've got creators like Zaku Aurelius and Mecha Gaetsu who have, thousands of videos. If anybody's videos were gonna get hit, it would probably be one of theirs. Not that I'm wishing that any of their videos get hit or anything. All I'm saying is that they have an abundance of content inside of our niche. And as far as we know, even none of their content has been marked for kids. So for those reasons right there, as of right now, I personally don't see COPPA as a big deal for us in the Gunpla community. I definitely understand, how people could be a little concerned with it. But right now, I just don't think that there is enough smoke there for us to be worried. So just because we don't feel like there's anything really to be worried about at the moment doesn't mean that we're not going to be, watching the situation and just kind of constantly reevaluating what the FTC comes out and they say. But if you guys know of any other Gunpla artists out there where their videos have been marked as for kids, definitely let me know down in the comments down below, because like I said, as far as we know right now, there have not been a single other Gunpla artist that has been marked as content is for kids that we know of, other than Otaku Builder, who we have a clear correlation between what they say is chibi or what they say is animated characters and his chibi character on his page. So other than that, I feel like right now it's just a lot of smoke on our end. There are definitely some communities where it's full-blown fires right now, but I don't feel like that's the situation that we're in the Gunpla community. So either way though, guys, make sure you guys go out there and tell the FTC what you think. Just be mindful, you know, just don't go like cursing them out or anything like that. You know, we want them to be actually receptive to what it is we're trying to say. Just remember, they don't have, or assume that they don't have, a Gunpla artist on their board or their committee. So we don't want to just go and throw insults at them or anything like that and just have them not listen to what the Gunpla community is and what Gunpla is. So definitely go out there, leave them a comment, be respectful. I'll leave a link down below for you guys to do that. And make sure you guys let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.